Welcome to Interviews with Innocence, a podcast about spirituality, consciousness, and exploring the wisdom our children bring into this world. I believe that our very young children are our greatest teachers. After all, they're the masters of living in the present moment, bubbling in unconditional love, enjoying the messiness of life, and curious about the universe in all its dimensions. The pure essence that young children exhibit lives within all of us. My hope is that these interviews will help us discover, embrace, and connect with the sacred core of childhood that resides within each of our hearts. I am your host, Marla Hughes. Today, I am so happy to have Martina Drassl and Cvita Mamic back on the show. Martina began her healing journey in 2009 with Amazonian master plants. She's worked as a facilitator in the retreat center, Nihue Rao, in Peru for many years. She's also studied somatic experiencing trauma release, and she is now a somatic experiencer practitioner, which she'll explain a little bit about that in the interview. Cvita is a visionary artist, writer, and co-founder of Nihue Rao Center, Ayahuasca Healing Center in Peru. While working and living in Nihue Rao, she focuses her energies as a healer in the Shipibo tradition of shamanism. She brings her educational, life, and world travel experiences to her practices and is a bridge across many divides, cultural, spiritual, and ethnic, to name but a few. So excited to have you girls back, and we're just going to start right where we left off. So here we go.
Well, I just find it so intriguing, these master plants, along with like all the different facets as you were talking about, Cvita, but the master plants and the importance of the shaman, which we've talked about a lot, Ricardo, in our other interviews, and the Icaro, is that how you pronounce that? This song, Icaro, the song, and just all of it put together. And how would one who's wanting to go somewhere, how do they even begin to think about, going on a journey like this? Sign up with Ricardo, and do people need to travel, far away? And I know your experiences in Peru, and that's what you girls like to talk about. But what would be your words of wisdom for someone who has tried everything and is just really interested in this path, and they feel like that they're being called? Cvita.
Yeah, number one, we can talk about like finding, because I don't believe we were lucky. We were able to be in Peru for so long, and it was really an invitation from a really special invitation to work so closely. But I know that not everybody has that opportunity, and there are circles happening. Ayahuasca is traveling around the world. There are many. I heard somewhere at like any given weekend in LA, there's like 200 underground circles going on.
Wow.
So I can't say that for sure, but these are the things that I'm hearing. And so it is around. And I just think, like, as we go into the spirit realms, so what you mentioned, Marla, about ayahuasca breaks you open, the vulnerability piece. I think healing comes through, you cannot heal unless you feel safe and unless you trust. And I think we do research on, many different things, like the camera we're going to buy or the car we're going to buy. It's like diligent research on who are these people? Because I think the hunger for drinking, and because ayahuasca in the Western world is so underground, it's so hard to find even a lead in where you can possibly, drink this plant medicine, that when you do find the lead, I was lucky. I found the lead. I did no research. A friend of mine did it, and I thought, oh, she's good with this person. I'll go with her. And again, I was lucky, right? And also I felt like that really came for me, but that lead in, we don't want to research it too much because that could be our only way in. But I would just say, like, once you start asking for that connection, ayahuasca really starts coming. And so the research, number one, and who are they trained with? Like some people have very basic training, and I'm just, what we talk about in the healing, what is coming forward needs proper care and
Right.
attention in a room. So if you have 20 people in a room and they're all emitting a whole bunch of stuff, can the practitioner really, take care of that? And so from the beginning of mind, how do I know all this? Really going and trusting that gut intuition, asking around, asking friends, really doing that research. And if something doesn't feel right, if there's a little bit of an alarm,
Yeah, it
wait a
will
little
come
bit,
to you.
because I believe that the good medicine will come to you if you
Right.
wait, if those alarms aren't on. And then, I do know that certain, maybe more of the master plants are being dieted now. Practitioners here are offering master plant diets.
And
Um,
when you say that,
so
do you mean that they offer it during obviously the master plant diet you stay on for a while, correct? Yeah,
you
yeah.
do. Yeah, I mean, some are 10 days, some are 5
Right,
weeks.
right,
Some are, I would say, 10 days is a really nice amount of time, but it could be longer as well. And again, that it's hard to find those things
right,
here.
right.
I think as possible, I'm hoping that things are going to change and that ayahuasca is recognized more, and more churches come up. I know there's different ways that
Yeah,
people are serving it,
yeah, there's some in
different groups and stuff. So I just say trusting the
right.
intuition, and yeah, I mean, and then my second point is starting slow. This idea of we want to, I want to be, or I'm going to, Martina, I'm healed now, I'm going to wrap it up. It's just like trying it once and seeing what it's like for you, but like really going in. When I learned a lot in Peru with meeting many different shamans, and some were really great and others
That's what
weren't.
I've heard.
And so this falsity we have as even Western women, of like, you're the shaman, you know how much ayahuasca to pour me, you know what's good for me. Actually, they don't. They're human beings as well, and everybody has different intentions. And so I learned over the years is, when you're singing to me, I'm here and I want the healing, but I'm only opening up this far right now because I need to learn to trust, and I want to know that this is a good thing. And so, I see this thing. It's like, well, if I told you go walk down an alley at 3 a.m. that has a lot of robbers in it because everybody's doing it, and it's the cool thing because at the end of the alley there's this great gift for you.
Right.
Maybe I wouldn't walk down the alley. And so I just know when I first went there, I'm like, here's my soul. I'm gonna show you everything. Heal me. And it's like, wow, how naive that was. And thankfully, I was
Right.
safe. But this idea of I'm here, but I have my own boundaries. So let's work together, but I'm here
Yeah,
too, right? Not giving my
right,
power away
right.
because this mysticism and the shaman being, oh, the shaman,
Yeah.
right?
I felt that in my ceremony where Mother Ayahuasca said to me, I'm a mother. I know your pain, and so she just came to me, I had some really profound visions. It was kind and loving. And I just remember as I was getting sick, I just kept saying, I trust, I trust. I was just so broken open. So I kind of, not kind of, I feel that way in the sense that that was what I needed at the moment. And that as much as I don't want to drink that stuff again, I'm feeling called to, begin again, because you're right. It's like a hunger to go deeper and have that. Martina, can you speak just a little bit also? Talking about people finding, places where they can have this experience that it's really, do you feel it's really important to find also they have the rituals, the songs that, all of that also during the ceremony?
Yeah, we come from we are connected to the
Right,
Shipibo
right.
tradition, and that is a healing method that is very like treatment based and very dedicated to personal healing and personal intention, and that is that tradition. That's how we learn. Like they are always talking about cleaning,
Yes,
cleaning, cleaning. Like you're not feeling well,
yes.
clean it. You're like we spoke about that the last
Mhm.
time. Even they're bringing their kids in when
Right.
they have had a scare. Clean it, and it's not staying in your body. Like this is even that somatic approach that when we want to bring in somatic experiencing, that we always say every experience is a memory in your body and you're stored. So if you clean the bad memories as soon as possible, you can always be in a better, you have always a better container for yourself.
Right.
Like that is the idea, as like how we are working. We grew up in that tradition. So, and I know that there are a lot of other traditions that are very focusing on community, on music in
Right.
ceremony, like on instruments, or on sound healing. Like there's so many different ways to connect with that, with medicine, like ayahuasca. Even in Colombia, tradition is different. They cleanse a lot with the chacapa, like around you, the energy. So like yeah, right. Yeah. So it's like it's very, all the traditions are different. And also in the Brazilian tradition, they have a lot of guitar involved, in guitar music, or like, I think it's like very personal.
Right.
How for many people, it's first really important to connect with community and feel like very
Safe.
very held in, and in that like musicality, and experience a healing where they feel like it's it is more connecting experience, and that can be already very healing. It depends on the person and on what they're looking
Right.
to do. Like the Shipibo tradition, as I said, it's like very focused on the personal
Which I
healing.
love that part of it. So, but what about these, back to the master plants where we started? Why sometimes are you offered them, and sometimes, like, I was not, and it was in the Shipibo tradition where I was. Does it just, what's that depend upon? Because when I go again, I would really like to, experience that if I could.
How long were you there for?
7 days.
Yeah, I know Ricardo won't really open a plant for 7 days or
Okay.
under, because he says it's not enough time for the person to actually connect
I
to the
see.
plant. And so his minimum
That
is
makes
10 days,
sense.
where you stay for a 10-day
Right.
period. And so, and some centers don't offer it. I mean, there are also different ways to diet. Some traditions diet overnight. Like if you wanted to diet rose, you would drink it, drink it, and then the next day break the fast, and that's a
Right.
diet. And for the Shipibos, the diets are, 2 months, 3 months, a year. 2 weeks is a short diet. It's still very potent for a healing diet, but the learning diets get longer. So it depends on the center too.
Yeah, yeah. So when you go to ceremony, well, let's not say now, let's say when you were on your journey and you had done quite a few, I've got to ask this question. Do you like look forward to a ceremony? Because when I went back every night, I was not looking forward to it. Martina, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, I can answer with a memory when we were working at Nihue Rao, and I was there, and Cvita was such a passion, and she was like, I was always looking forward to have a day off, and then when there was the day where ceremony was, Cvita said, "Gonna drink tonight? I'm so excited. Are you? You should be excited," she said to me. And I was like, I was still figuring out, how to get in touch with this and handling everything. So I think it's like every relationship evolves, right? So also that is part of it. It's the same thing with ayahuasca.
That made so much
Your
sense.
relationship evolves, and then also therefore you work on it,
right?
and you are like in that together, because we're always talking about the connection to the spirit, but you were kind of working together
Right.
on that. And then when at one point, you know, it's getting okay, it is different how the approach is. And even then you had experiences and said like, okay, I know now how to handle it. Okay, it might be difficult, but I know now how to handle it in a different way. And it's always
Right,
different.
right,
You know,
absolutely.
like you cannot plan, okay, this is now, you know, my birthday. Oh, I was like,
It's
this
going to
is
be a
my
good one.
birthday and I'm going to have my birthday ceremony. And I was like, oh, you
Right,
know,
right.
it's not like, okay, like I thought, like, that's not the ayahuasca don't know that it's my birthday. You know, it's like we come in with this like Western
Right,
minds,
right.
like, you know, that they present you the cake and then they give, you know, that's the thing, because she gives us gifts, you know, she gives us gifts in a different
Right,
way.
right.
And we have to
Trust. Yeah.
receive them in that way and trust, and also understand, and it happens later, you know, it happens so much. And once you are connected to the master plan and ayahuasca, you drank, so you have the spirit
Yeah.
within you, and everything can unfold in your life even later as an answer.
Right.
So
Oh, beautiful.
Well, and it gets easier. The initial cleaning stages with Aya, she's a no mess
Right.
around lady. I mean, if there's some heavy cleaning to do, it's uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable.
And what we say to people when they were coming into the retreats, healing, you know, we all want to heal, but nobody wants to do the icky stuff that is involved in that. And what has taken, if I'm a 40-year-old woman, what's taken 40 years to manifest cannot be healed overnight. So we want to, you know, the easy fix, the pill, the
Right.
easy road. And I love this humble part of plant medicine is you sit there and you feel nauseous and you puke in a bucket and you feel what it's like. You feel when that stuff came in, you know, even like maybe the more gluttonous energies when they came in, you feel them come out. And so you get this kind of really diverse understanding of what it is like to be human in a way. It's like,
Yes.
oh, I'm not coming in. If I'm coming and taking that away from you, I'm actually taking away one of the most beautiful gifts of your healing, is that you sat there, you were scared, you were cold, you vomited, you felt terrible, and you made it. And so all of a sudden you build confidence for the next one. And the healing, then that's how it starts coming from inside out,
Yes.
right? And then the cleaning gets easier. Like now we're not vomiting in buckets very rarely. You know, maybe if we eat something wrong or if we're working on something, but it gets easier. Ricardo will say, it's really hard tonight. You don't want to come back tomorrow. You know, last week's math class, we learned about this. This week's math class, we're going to learn about something else. So you never really know. You just start getting that inner, like gushpa, the inner like strength to say, I'm gonna show
that
up
makes
again.
so much sense.
And that's so much of it, right? It's so much of it. Because like this is where you're in charge partly of your own healing. And this is what I was so passionate about ayahuasca, was somebody wasn't doing it for me. I had support and ayahuasca was helping me and we were doing it together. And I kept showing up because I really liked seeing that part of myself come into the game.
I love that. What were you going to say, Martina?
And that is, sorry, and that is actually what Cvita said. I just want to add something. That's something really important. Like the healing, you have to experience and you have to do it, and it's not supposed to be comfortable. And there's so much. There's nothing like romantic around that, especially like in the ayahuasca world. Like sometimes it feels like, you know, oh, this is like, oh, and then the plants, the mystical told me and all that, you know, like it's also very comfortable to stay in that field, you know, and
yes,
the romantic field. Yeah. So, and that's actually what Cvita said, and what we are kind of advocating. Like, yeah, that is the healing, that how it's happening, and not everybody is also ready to embark on that journey in that moment, and that's also okay, because there's also always a moment where you can come around, right? So we had that in our center so many times. And then it was just like, okay, you tap in, and then it comes in so many different ways. And that's actually the very mystical part of it.
Beautiful. Well, girls, we need to wrap it up, but I would love for you to come back and talk about your somatic. What is that again? Somatic trauma experiencing work, because it seems like it just is another, just like the other master plants, is another part of this that could just really helps, helps people integrate. And I do have a question for you, Cvita. You said you started that training after you saw that what it had done for Cvita. So, I mean for Martina, because it's a lot to go. Actually, I'm taking a couple of college classes, right? And it's a lot to go back to school when you've been in life for a while. And so, what did you see that that you wanted badly enough that you decided that you wanted to train in that?
I saw her kind of her container for like being present, and what she could bring into her world became way more expansive.
Interesting.
Like that she could regulate herself. Like we, in Nihue Rao, when we worked together, we went through many different situations at any given day. And you've done work in this. It can be really traumatizing, a lot of things coming, and to see the difference in how she could handle what was coming in, integrate it. And really, when she started talking about the nervous system, I was like, what's all this terminology? Like, I don't like this stuff. And it's like, well, wait a minute, you're really calm. Like you're able, and so then I would watch her also with people coming out of ceremony, being really dysregulated, having a hard night. And then she could bring them back into their body, and then also orient them to their environment to say, well, where are you right now? And then their whole physique, which like their physiology would change, their physical aura, everything would kind of come back into alignment. And so it became like very apparent that it was like kind of her sister ally to ayahuasca. Her shamanism got stronger, her personal presence got stronger and more expansive, and she could help people actually quite quickly. Remember, this woman kind of was unraveling, and Martina just stopped, and in like 4 minutes the woman's flush went away, and she said, oh, like, wow, I'm back.
Wow.
And I just said to Martina, how did you just do that?
Yeah.
Right. So this is why it was of interest. And I think it is worthy of, like, you've talked to Martina about it before, but it's worthy of more conversations, because what we're finding that many of us practitioners are learning it now, because we're seeing it's such a tool. Also for us in the practicing it, we can hold a different kind of space now.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So it's worth a lot of conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Martina, how did you go down that path after you had done, you got involved with ayahuasca and that?
With somatic experiencing? I wanted to know, I was curious about knowing more about trauma, and actually it's very nice because Cvita actually gave me the idea, you should read more books. And I said, I was thinking, but what do I want to read about? And then I was researching and said, I want to read more about trauma, because I was curious what is actually happening in the body and in the brain, and what is actually, what is happening. So, and then I was researching, and I found a book by Peter Levine, and then I read it, and I felt like, oh, this person knows what suffering is, or what is happening. And then through other coincidences, I talked to another friend of mine about that book, and she said, there is a training, and I wanted to do it. And I said, like, there is the training. And then the whole world opened to me, and I just signed up. I didn't know how to pay for it, but I just started it. And then, and even, it's like so much information and to get, because also you realize, oh, this is how I work.
Right.
So this is actually also my environment, my people, oh, this is what happens when I trigger somebody, or like we say trigger, but this is like, oh, now I understand what is happening in the nervous system of this person that I love. And so it's like a whole other world of understanding that opened up to me. And I am still like passionate to learn more about it and also deepen it, because when you are in it, it's like so much information that you have to like digest and you cannot get everything.
Yeah.
You know?
What was the name? What's the name of the book that you're referring to?
I mean, there are a few books by Peter Levin. One is called Waking the Tiger, and then In an Unspoken Voice. And he wrote a few books. I have just one here. It's like Trauma and Memory. Like he wrote a lot of books. If you Google, like Waking the Tiger has been translated in 26
I've heard of
languages.
that book before, but I wasn't sure what it was. Yeah, great. Well, we'll definitely have to come back and talk about that, and also talk a little bit more about childhood and how that's what we always, go back to, and where a lot of this begins. So thank you so much for coming on the show. This has just been a delightful conversation.
You're welcome.
Is there anything you guys would like to say just to wrap it up? Any little words of wisdom? Or Cvita, do you have anything? You can go first.
Yeah, just, it can be when we want to heal, it can be overwhelming on like how to find it, and especially, with the world of ayahuasca and all the information and how to find it. And I think it all begins with this, just your intention, and really honing in on your own, like, what do I really want? And I do believe that the universe listens to that.
I agree.
And that we're taken along that path. So if anything, all the ins and outs of what I could say was just, what is your intention in your healing?
Right. Thank you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And Martina, how about you?
Yeah, I feel I always want to kind of advocate for healing, because it's actually it can be also a really beautiful journey. Like it can be very challenging, and it can be very very hard at times, but therefore also we have support, and that's what I am always also advocating about. Like, it's beautiful with ayahuasca because you have the support of the spirits, but you have also the support of the facilitators, of people who are guiding you, and therefore I just feel like support can be such a healing experience, because when we have been hurt, one of the worst things that might have happened was that we didn't have the support that we needed to go through that experience. So if you have another experience that can already give you another I won't say it unwrites the story, but it can rewrite in a different way. So that's what I wanted to say, and it was really nice to do this talk together with Cvita and
thank you so
thank
much.
You, Marla,
thank
so
you.
much.
And I just have one more quick question. And isn't it true that when true healing heals future generations also? So, that I'm getting shivers just saying that in itself is a huge reason to want to go down this path too.
And in future generations, in future generations, it also, I know that when I'm in a place of healing energy, that translates and affects my intimate circles. And from those people, it goes into the community. So you really can make such a difference just in what you're emanating from what you really earn from diving into this kind of scary place of healing, which Martina said is actually quite beautiful if we take it on. So how that emanates, future generations, community, friendships, the presence of our days change. Everything really becomes more potent.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate this, and we'll definitely set up another time. And you girls have a wonderful day. I hope that we're all in the same place together one of these days very soon, doing some magic.
Thank you so much, Marla.
Thank you, Marla.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening in today. If you want to learn more about the show, you can find us at interviewswithinnocence.com and on Facebook or Instagram at Interviews with Innocence. Please write me a message, tell me what you liked, and let me know what else you would like to hear. I would love to hear from you. And if you liked what you heard, please leave us an iTunes rating and review. It helps other listeners find the show. Thank you.